I quit my day job 3 years ago to be a full-time artist. Since then, I have made a good living and built a strong following by selling thousands of pieces of artwork to many people across the world. And in this video, I'm going to give you some honest advice on my journey so far. Things that I wish I would have known before I quit my job, which might help you if you're thinking of pursuing a career using your creative passion. So first, I'm going to give you a short backstory of my journey and then 6 pieces of advice that I think you will benefit from by watching this video. I was always good at artwork growing up. It's always something that I wanted to be, a full-time artist, but it wasn't something that I thought was possible. That's the reason that I didn't really start trying to make a living from artwork sales until I was 29 years of age. 2019 was the first time that I bought an iPad and I started putting content out on the internet that I thought might lead to sales. It took me 3 months to make my first sale. As soon as someone first purchased that piece of artwork, I knew that it was something that I could do full time. I spent 3 years creating artwork and posting it online whilst I had a full-time job. By the time I was 32, I eventually saved enough money and had the chance to be able to quit my job and become a full-time artist. That was in August 2022. Since then, I've grown my following on Instagram from 5,000 followers, which is all I had when I quit my job, to nearly 50,000 followers today. I've sold original pieces of artwork for over £2,000, which is something I never dreamed I would be able to do. And I've sold prints to thousands and thousands of people online. I've done this somewhat successfully over the past 3 years where my bills are paid. I managed to go on holiday a couple of times a year and my time is my own time, which is what I always wanted as a creative person. And I only tell you all of this to give you some confidence in my ability to give the advice that is in this video. So let's start with piece of advice number 1. This sounds like really obvious advice, but you need to have some form of savings in the bank before you pursue your creative career full time. And the savings that you build up to be able to do that, you are going to use. Every business that you come in contact with has issues with cash flow. There may be months where you need to order stock, for example, like 100 envelopes, or you might need to order prints or a printer or ink or any of those things that you need to be able to deliver your product to your customers. You may have to spend £100, £200, £300, £400 in laying out that cost before you can actually trade as a business. At the end of the day, no matter what business it is, whether you're an artist or creating a business selling chairs or having a coffee shop, you need to be able to give yourself a window of time that is more or less risk-free. And I mean that if you don't get any sales for a month or a couple of weeks, that you're not going to be panicking that you might have to be homeless in a couple of months. If you can take that panic away with even just 6 months of savings, then it's going to allow you to be as creative as you should be without worrying about things on the business side. Which leads me to piece of advice number 2, and this is an important one. It's all about the mentality of being a full-time artist. You need to prepare for inconsistent sales. The paintings that you can see behind me, the Muhammad Ali one and the football boots, these are paintings that I've created that I spent 50 hours each on each painting. That's 100 hours collectively. These paintings have not sold despite me trying to market those paintings on my social media and getting millions of views on the Muhammad Ali painting. I got over 2.3 million views on a video about that painting and it still sits next to me in my office. This is something that you really need to get comfortable with if you want to be a full-time artist. Not every month is going to be consistently good in sales. 1 month I might sell no paintings and the next month I might sell 2 paintings. That brings in say £5,000 worth of revenue. It's really difficult to predict which months are going to do well if you are not aware of events that are going on in your niche. And that's a way that you can counteract inconsistent sales, is being aware of events that are happening in your niche. I am a sports-based artist, predominantly football, so I am aware of certain times of year that football fans might want to spend more on artwork. For example, Liverpool won the title in May this year. So in June, I was releasing a lot of Liverpool artwork that brought in more sales in that month than I had in the previous 2 months. Same with times of year like Christmas time and Valentine's Day. If you've got a certain piece of artwork that appeals to people who are looking to buy gifts, November and December could be the best months that you have all year. Just being aware of those events and those key dates in your niche can counteract the inconsistent sales throughout the year. 1 month you might do £1,000 in sales, but in December you may very well do £3,000 worth of sales organically because people are looking to spend. Which leads me to piece of advice number 3, which that is to collect email addresses. I collect a lot of data on my sales and have done over the past 3 years. 40% of my revenue each year comes from offers that I have put out to my email list first, and then they've bought off me. So if you're not collecting email addresses, even if you're not an artist, even if you've just got a business doing any product anywhere, if you're not collecting email addresses, you could be missing out on 40% more revenue each year. And you're probably sitting there thinking, well, how do I collect email addresses if I'm an artist? Well, there's a number of ways to do that, and there's a number of factors that you need to consider. You need to be aware of platforms that don't allow you to send emails to your customers. For example, if you are on TikTok Shop, like I am, I've also got my own website separately to TikTok. So every time someone buys off me on my own website, I own that data. I own the email address that they ordered with, whereas on TikTok you don't. So it's always best to have your own website, number one, to be able to collect information off anyone who buys off you. The second part is, how do I actually get so many email addresses? Well, you need to offer something to someone to get their email address. You need to give them value in some way. And as an artist, there's no better way to do that than giving away a free piece of artwork or even a digital download. If you do not do this, then you will not be able to collect email addresses because it's an exchange. They want something for that email address. The best way that I've found doing it as an artist for over 3 years is that a lot of the time I'll just give away free prints on my website and I'll just get customers to cover the postage. I won't make anything off that sale or off that deal, but I will get their email address. So if 100 people buy that free product, I get 100 email addresses. And going back to the stats that I've had on my website over the past 3 years, I know that 40% of my revenue comes from email marketing. So if I get 100 people who buy off me, I know that 40 of those people are likely to buy off me again in the future. So even though I'm giving away free prints and there's an initial cost, once I've got their email address, it's really valuable if you collect those email addresses and then periodically offer different offers on your work to that email list. 2 for 1, 3 for 1, 50% off, 20% off, Christmas deals. You get the gist. So essentially, you just need to find a way to collect email addresses and then email those people regularly. And I'm saying like once or twice a week, not with offers every time, but just to remind people that you exist, because people do not know you exist, which leads to a piece of advice I'm going to give you shortly. Number 4 is a short one, and again, these pieces of advice seem really obvious, but it's make sure people know where to buy your products from. Like I said, I have got videos that have done 2.3 million views. I've got one video on TikTok that did over 6 million views, and I didn't sell a single print of that piece of artwork based on them views, because on the video, there's no call to action. There's no direction from me to go and buy that print. There's nowhere that says on that post, go and buy this print here. So you wouldn't believe how important it is just to tell people where to buy your stuff from. If you've got a website, put the website in the description of at least 50% of your posts. Make sure that in your bio on your social media pages, you've got buy my artwork here, buy my prints here. You have to direct people to go to a specific place. You have to tell people what to do. A lot of people, I'm not going to say are stupid, but they lack a lot of common sense. So many places on my social media and on my posts and in my descriptions and even in the videos themselves saying where to buy, and I still get inundated with messages of people saying, where can I buy this work? Even if you do put everywhere where to buy from, people are still going to miss it. So that should be a sign that you should just put it everywhere that you can. And I wouldn't say do it on every post, but say 50% of your posts do need to have where they can get your work from in different forms, whether it's a print, an original, or a download. Try and have multiple places they can get it from. For me, I've got TikTok Shop and I've got my own website, and I've had prints in people's storefronts at times. So have as many places as you can and try and tell people as often as you can where those prints are and that artwork is to buy, because you wouldn't believe how many people just don't pay attention to that stuff. Which leads me to piece of advice number 5. Nobody knows who you are. Like, no one has a clue that you exist. And even the ones that do know who you are in the back of their mind, they're not thinking about you ever. We massively underestimate how many people there are, not only in the world, but on social media every day. Everyone is on the phones every day. Like, in this city alone where I live in Liverpool in the UK, there's over 1 million people. And the last post that I did on Instagram was like 4,000 views. 4,000 views, and there's 1 million people in this city that I live right now. So just think about how many people don't know who I am in my own city. We get this idea that if we post too much, that we're annoying people, or that people are going to be pissed off and unfollow us, or that people won't buy off us because we're doing too much content. You have no idea how much content doesn't get seen by people that you want to see your work. Like, again, I have had millions and millions of views on my work, and most of the people in my local area haven't got a clue who I am. Sometimes I think, oh, I've saturated the market. I'm not getting sales this month because, you know, I've annoyed everyone and I've reached everyone that I'm going to reach. You've got no idea. You've got no idea. If you've got a product or a piece of artwork that is going live at the end of the month, you need to be doing multiple stories a day. You need to be posting in every way you can, on every platform you can, multiple times a day. Videos, work in progress shots, constant reminders of where to buy that work in a week's time, when you can buy that work in a week's time, what time to buy that work, how I created that work. This takes a lot of not giving a fuck of what people think. And again, it takes a lot of sort of changing your perspective of thinking you're annoying people to actually, I'm not even a drop of a pebble in the ocean. Because you're just not. Even if I done a post about a new print that I'm doing next week, and that post gets 1 million views, those people who've seen that, those 1 million people who've seen that video, they might not even register what they're seeing. They're just watching it for entertainment value. And as soon as they scroll to the next video, they forget. So this is where everything I've told you so far in the video, annoying people, posting consistently, and having email addresses, and having your own bank of email addresses to keep hounding people about your releases and your artwork, and just to show people that you exist. Because trust me, no one gives a shit. If you can't email someone once a day for a week leading up to a sale of your artwork, then what are we doing? What are we doing? We need people to know. We need to be in people's faces. And that's quite daunting for a lot of people, probably you watching this video, but people don't care. I promise you, people don't care. Some of my favorite videos on social media is when people go to a supermarket or go to like an open space, and they talk really loudly about the people around them, and no one says anything. And they're like, look, no one cares. And they're dancing and singing. It's because all people care about is themselves. And if you're not hounding people and continuously, I'm not saying do this all the time, but for me, around big releases, like if I'm doing a limited edition print, or if I'm releasing a piece of artwork that I really want people to know about, the week before I'm emailing, story, reel, TikTok, Instagram, different platforms, YouTube, and I'm just going all out and doing as much content as I can. And I still probably don't do enough. All I'm saying is that works for me. It works for me, and you've got to get past that barrier of thinking that you're annoying people, because you're not. They don't even know you exist. And I read that people don't even pay attention to something unless they've seen it 3 times online before. So if you have that in the back of your head, you've got to remind people at least 3 times before they're aware of buying your product. If you follow that rule, it won't serve you wrong. And piece of advice number 6, and this is the last piece of advice I'll give you in this video, and it sounds counterintuitive. Don't just create what you want to create as an artist. You're going to hear a lot of people online telling you the opposite to that. They're not going to tell you this advice that I'm giving you. If you just create from the heart and you just create what you want to create, you might get lucky, and your work might be that significant and that emotional and really touch people in a way that people really want to buy your work and invest in you as an artist. You might get lucky. I'm not saying it's not possible, but you need to be aware going back to one of the pieces of advice I said before about events in the year that are in your niche, you need to be aware of what people want. The amount of times I've sold out of limited edition pieces of artwork, or I've sold out of original paintings, it's been something that I've gone, what has happened culturally within my city? Like, for example, the Virgil van Dijk print that I'm going to put up on screen in just a sec. This print, I sold 100 limited edition prints in 24 hours of this print. And it wasn't necessarily something that I wanted to create. I'd already painted and created Virgil van Dijk after Liverpool won the Premier League title. I'd already created him, but I realised that this image, this photograph of Van Dijk, was circulating on social media and people were loving the photograph. And I seen that and thought, I'm going to create an artistic version of that because everyone seems to love it. And it sold out within a day, 100 pieces. And I made enough money off that one sale, that one deal, to pay 2 months' wages for myself for the next 2 months. So yeah, create what you want to create, but you also need to be aware of what people want as an artist. And if you ignore this advice, you will struggle. I promise you will struggle. The amount of times I've just created what I think is great myself, sometimes it sells, but the things that really sell for me and the things that move the needle and really bring in revenue and really help me survive and thrive as an artist and actually make money, which is what we all want to do, is being aware of cultural things within my niche. If I'm a football artist, I need to be aware of, when do teams win titles? May. Releasing things in June will be a good idea. Christmas time, what games have been played recently where iconic things have happened? Even though it's football is what I like to create, I still zone in on what I think people might want. Oh shit, didn't mean to do that action. I still zone in on what people might want as a product, because that's what people are buying. They're buying art as a product for the most times, and they want a memory of something. And if you can tap into what people want, you might not be a football artist, you might create artwork that's based on songs. For example, if Taylor Swift was playing in my local area at Anfield Stadium, for example, releasing a Taylor Swift print before or after that concert within a week or two, and then advertising it to people within this region on Facebook ads, or even just directing it to those people on a video in some way, that's going to make me more money than just doing Taylor Swift at any given time. So that sense of timing and that sense of demand is what is going to make you more money than just creating from the heart. But again, create from the heart half the time, and maybe create from the demand side half the time as well, because if you don't know what people want, it's going to be really hard to make a career in art and as an artist. If you follow the advice in this video that I've given you, then I promise you will be way further ahead than I was when I first quit my job to be a full-time artist. And if you enjoyed this video and you got some value from it, you might also like this video as well. And also, if you got any value from it at all, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a boss day.